Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan. I'm excited to dive into this today because I don't like not liking things. And I really like Peerless's rye whiskey, and everything else I've had from them has been expensive and not bad. You know what I mean? It's been expensive and not bad. And for me, if something's going to be not bad, it needs to be competitive in the price point department. But I typically don't buy Peerless products because they are really pricey for the age. Like, they're typically charging between 80 and 100 bucks for 4-year-old whiskey that maybe they just rebarreled. And I've never really understood their price points. So today I'm going to be trying their High Rye Bourbon. This was a new release as of last year, I believe. And you know, as we're approaching this next quarter, I think it's supposed to be releasing again, so I thought it would be a good thing to revisit now. So a big shout out to Delicious Dairy for sharing this with me. But this is the High Rye Bourbon from Peerless. Let me pour this and I'll sort of unpack what we know about this bottle, all right? Okay, Peerless High Rye Bourbon. A lot of people really love their double oaked. I didn't dislike it, but I did note that it was pretty expensive. And this bottle, it's kind of similar on paper, where we have non-age stated straight bourbons. So we're just assuming that it's at least 4 years old. If it's older than that by a significant margin, they would probably want to say so, but they don't. So we're just going to assume this is about 4 years old minimum right here in this pour. It comes in at 110 proof, 110.5 proof, and they say that it's an innovative, unique mash bill, their high rye mash here, but they don't tell us what it is, so it's non-disclosed. So we're not sure exactly what the mash is here, we just know that it's high rye. And that term high rye is kind of relative, because we've seen people say this is a high rye bourbon before, and it's, you know, the Devil's Tower here from Redwood Empire. And it's like 45% rye. Like that's a lot. In order for it to be called a bourbon, you're basically going bare minimum on the corn there. So, but we've also seen other people say this is our high rye bourbon and it's 20%. So there's a lot of gray area there. We don't know exactly how much rye is in this mash. But here's the thing. I really want this to be good because I do tend to really get down with high rye bourbons. But the MSRP for this bottle is $150. It's not rebarreled. It's not like they finished it and they had to pay for extra cooperage to finish it in a port or wine, sherry, Madeira, a toasted barrel, nothing like that. It's just at least 4-year-old bourbon with a unique mash bill. That's it. And a relatively high proof point for 150 bucks. Now, in preparation for this video, I didn't look at other reviews of the nose, the palate, all that stuff. But what I did do is, because I was looking at that price point, I know the way that Breaking Bourbon does things. And they always have a section at the bottom of their review called value, where they talk about the value of a bottle. And I can tell you this, I scrolled down to just look at that, and Breaking Bourbon was scratching their heads. They're like, we simply do not understand why it costs 150 bucks. So I don't know, maybe I'm going to taste this and I'm going to be like, this is incredible and it's so good for being 4 years old that, yeah, it's worth that. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. Maybe we'll fall somewhere in between. But that's what I'm really curious about today. So let's dive into this. All right, we'll start with the nose here and go from there. You know, I was expecting some rye spice on the nose. I think the first thing that actually came to mind was a toasted marshmallow, like from a s'mores. It's got sort of a burnt sugar note, you know, you get with a toasted marshmallow, or when you maybe you overheat your white cane sugar. And it caramelizes, but it also kind of gets this charred action to it, almost like a brulee effect on creme brulee, which isn't a bad thing in a lot of cases. But that's what I'm getting on the nose here. Some of those burnt sugars, toasted marshmallow. Yeah, I'm not getting hit with a ton of rye spice. There's a little bit of that soft, sort of citrusy, fruity note in there too, though, that you get with some mature rye. Interesting. All right, well, let's try it. Cheers. Man, in a lot of ways, it kind of makes me think of like an Elijah Craig barrel proof. It's a little bit brighter and more caramely, but it does have some of those darker notes to it too. Baking spices. I'm almost getting what I would say is like an oatmeal raisin cookie note on this too. And can I just say, people hate on oatmeal raisins, and I'm not trying to say it's the best cookie out there, but people like to pretend like it's a terrible option. It's not. Like, oatmeal raisin is a good cookie. Maybe I'm just old. But definitely, I get an oatmeal raisin kind of a vibe on this too. I also think of those, like the butterscotch chocolate chips that you cook with, that you bake with. I think of those on the palate too. It's not super spicy. I think, honestly, that it's weird, but I feel like the thing that this reminds me of the most, like in terms of comparing it to a different whiskey, it kind of reminds me of Elijah Craig Toasted, which is strange. It's not a toasted product, but that's what it kind of reminds me of. Man, it's tough because it doesn't taste old, right? I'm not getting like a lot of maturity on it. So I'm really struggling with that $150 price point. I'll be honest, I think this is pretty good. Like I actually really like this sip, but I'm thinking about other things that cost $150. And I'm like, man, I don't know about that. You try and tell me that this is better than Calumet 16 year? Like Calumet 16 years of $140 bottle, and it's incredible. That's an incredible pour. You want to tell me that's better? Old Carter, you got like a, a really exclusive Old Carter bottle. This is worth more? Man, I'm really struggling with that price point. Here's the thing, if you told me that was a $70 bottle, I'd be like, heck yeah. I'd pick that up from my shelf all day, every day. Give me some of that. I mean, you just think about it on paper, 4-year minimum. High rye mash bill. Think about the Devil's Tower. I think this is what, a $90 bottle? $90 bottle. And Devil's Tower from Redwood Empire, 45% rye, high rye bourbon. $90. And this is a banger bottle, by the way. That's really freaking tough. So that's the thing. I'm going to have to give this a score per my scale. I'm going to give it 2 scores. I'm going to score it as if it were more competitive in the price department. If it were like in that $70 to $90 range, like a lot of other high rye bourbons, I think that I would probably give this a score because it's honestly, it's really good. I really like that toasted marshmallow. I like the oatmeal raisin vibe that we're getting off of this. And that would kind of lead me to give this a score in like the low 8s, like an 8.2, something like that. But because it's $150, shoot, I do not like that at all. I can't wrap my head around it. What is it that goes into this that makes it cost as much as some 16-year-old bourbons? Especially since they're not sourcing anything, they're not buying, they don't have to like hike up the price because they bought the distillate from a different distillery. No, they made this in-house. They didn't have to pay for extra cooperage for a finishing barrel either. And it doesn't come in like some fancy box that they had to up the price to pay for the cost investment of the branding packaging. No, it's just a different label on their standard Peerless bottle, which is a cool bottle design, but don't get me wrong. But I just don't understand what makes this $150. So if it was competitive, I think I'd go low 8s, 8.2 maybe, because honestly, it's really good. But since it is not competitive in the price department, man, I have a hard time recommending that you buy it for $150. I think it would drop it to low 6s, maybe a 6.2. And that sucks. That's the problem with Peerless for me, is that I haven't had anything from them that I've disliked. I think that their stuff is actually pretty good. Some of it's even really good. But man, I think they got to rethink their whole pricing structure because it just does not compute for me. I don't know if that's sustainable, but I'm not like a business guy. So if they're crushing it and people are buying up their stuff for that price, they've got no reason to change it. So I don't know. For me personally, I will continue to enjoy Peerless sips, but I don't think I'm going to be going out of my way to buy a lot of their stuff. And that's the review. Hey, thank you so much, Jerry. I really appreciate you sending me a sample of this. Like I said, I actually really enjoy the whiskey. It's good whiskey. Let me know what your take is on Peerless. Have you, bit the bullet, bought any of their products? What did you think of them? Did you have any buyer's remorse? And let me know what bottles you've had from them that you've liked as well. Cheers, my friends. Thanks so much for tuning into the video. May you live richly and get better with age. Check out the link in the description to join our Discord group. Get in there, introduce yourself. We'd love to meet you. Hey, hope to catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.